It was a gathering of professionals of high integrity in diverse fields at the prestigious Sun Lodge Hotel in Accra, Ghana, as the Integrity magazine held its 18th African Leadership Development Conference and Award Conferment. The award, which is all about upholding and celebrating integrity, transparency, accountability, and good governance in global leadership, is projected through organizing of conferences, seminars, and symposia where issues of international importance are discussed and recommendations made to relevant government authorities, with awards of integrity conferred on outstanding individuals and bodies. Speaking at the event, the president of Integrity magazine, Ambassador Onwordi Onichabor, disclosed that African countries require people who can combine good education with high moral standards to propel socio-economic and political development. While delivering a lecture on the theme, Africa's population explosion, a threat to continental food security and sustainable development, High Chief Ambassador Emmanuel Ochi, Chairman, Middle Belt Traditional Council, Southwest Nigeria, harps more on the threat of rising African population without adequate security and sustainable development.
Today is important because we gather here to publicly acknowledge and reward the effort of those who contributed to the development of their nations, Africa and the world at large. This significant occasion like this go beyond ceremony. It reminds us that African countries can make progress through individual and collective efforts. For Africa to make progress, we need men and women of integrity at all levels, not corrupt leaders, not person who by their words and deems sabotage the efforts of others. The topic of our conference today is African population explosion, a threat to continental food security and sustainable development. I have no doubt in my mind that the guest speaker will do justice to the topic for the advancement of Africa. The African Leaders of Integrity Award was inaugurated to honor men and women of integrity in various fields of human endeavor across the world. All over the world, there are notable men and women of distinction, proving integrity, transparency, and honest people who have contributed to the social, economic, and political development of their country. No matter what you tend to become in life, without integrity and strong character, those dreams become unsustainable. What legitimizes and aids sustainability in life is integrity and character. I hope you all believe in me. Your charisma, your talent, your gifts, and anointing can actually take you to the top, or the force that can keep you on transit into eternity is integrity and character. Our mission is to celebrate role models, those who have done credible things, men and women who conscious are not purchasing. Our awardees today are phenomenal in their own way. We must recognize and celebrate them. We must thank them. Men and women of integrity all over the world, we will do whatever we can to promote them individually and collectively. The idea in the concession of this award is that the recipient will be offered to serve through which the society, especially the youth, can see themselves as a beacon of hope, enterprise, and fulfillment. I urge every one of you to see this global recognition as a motivation to rededicate yourself to continue with the good service to your respective nations and humanity in general. I'm assuring you that your selfless service has been particularly recognized by a notable organization. I believe you must make a useful and instructive impact to your nations as you receive this symbol of your investitures. You make a solid pledge to continue to remain faithful, loyal, and honest to your countries.
Demand for food, water, housing, energy, healthcare, transportation, and consumption contributes to ecological degradation, increased conflicts, and higher risk of large-scale disaster like pandemic. Human population growth impacts the earth system in a variety of ways. leading to the extraction of resources from the environment. These resources include fossil fuel, oil, gas, coal, trees, water, wildlife, especially in the oceans. It reduces the quality and quantity of material resources through overexploitation, farming, and land fragmentation. Regions with higher in a number of individuals in a specific area at a given time. Population explosion is a cause for serious concern for all of us. Its impact is already showing in many areas. By increasing population, by 2050, it is expected Nigeria population may climb 375 million and be fourth in the world. The truth is that Nigeria population is exploding while the economy is retrogressing. This trend is worrisome on the general note on the economy and nothing to write home about. The population explosion has inevitably brought about debt burden in families, states, and central governments in Africa. The institution of family and government must care for the people at all costs, thereby borrowing from available limits to strenuously better the living standards of the people. Family and governments in Africa are largely in debt, in deficit of income when compared with expenditure.
The lecture threw different reactions among guests at the event, which prompts various submissions.
That this workforce we actually plant and we produce food that will feed Africa and feed Europe. Yes. And then the take home for our leaders is the way we manage our resources, particularly land, and how we make use of this act.
Population growth is a beautiful thing. Today there is one syndrome. I can say Nigeria, I want to believe in Africa as well. They call it Japa syndrome. Japa. Everybody, meaning, I don't know if it's Yoruba actually, but it means people are leaving the shores of Africa. You know, brain drain. If you go to America, if you go to Canada, you go to Europe, the best of the doctors you have are Africans. You live here because there are poor facilities for health. You get there, it is the same Africans who will be recommended to work on you, and you come back, feeling you've gone abroad for treatment. So I think it's pretty about management of our resources, distribution of our resources, failure in leadership, failure in governance. That is a real problem. I can tell you, as a 2021 census, USA is about 312 million, bigger than Nigeria, maybe about the South of Africa. India, China, they are about 415 million people, each of these countries. And yet they have more powerful economies than we have here. So the problem cannot be the population. The problem is management of our resources. Drawing these God-given potentials to turn it into per capita income. So I looked at the disadvantages you mentioned. Good. But if you look at it literally, they are lesser in number than the advantages in your paper. Wonderful job, sir. Thank you very much. Let us focus.
The problem in Africa, like they have pointed out, is not the population growth. The management of resources is the key thing. While this was going on, I was able to look at from the internet the population of other countries, like you mentioned. China is about as of 2021, it's about 1.412 billion. It's greater than the population of Africa put together. The time I was in China, In their breakfast, any food left is thrown into the dustbin or used to feed animals. In lunch, they prepare a fresh one. Dinner, the same thing. But in Africa, you cook food, put in the fridge, you keep warming it. We are not eating enough food that like China is eating. The problem is the way we manage our resources. If you go to China, you see high-rise buildings. But in front, any place that is warm, they will still farm there. They plant trees, they are eating enough fruit, they are managing their resources the best way they can, and also being able to feed their population very well. The same thing in India. India in 2021, their population is 1.408 billion, still bigger than the population of Africa. So it is a time Africa look inwards, have a collaboration with our leaders, our government, to know how we manage our resources. Like he pointed out, if you go to Lagos, Southwest, people are busy building in everywhere. There is no reservation for agriculture. And also the youth, anybody graduating from university, he wants to work in an oil company. Nobody has desire to be an agriculturist, a farmer. If you go to US, there are people that are making millions of money, millions of dollars from farming. But nobody will tell you, I want to be a farmer. I want to work in Shell, I want to work in Chevron. Yes, they are good places, but everybody cannot work in those places.
See, when we try sometimes to compare Nigeria with the United States, sometimes we bask, unfortunately, in certain illusions. One of such illusions is to think that Nigeria and United States, they are close together in landmass. It may interest you that Nigeria is nowhere near California in terms of landmass. And so we bask in certain illusions. You know, yes, all of us here as a consensus have agreed that leadership, you know, good leadership has eluded, you know, a vast part of Africa. And that itself is unfortunate, because if we are able to manage our land distribution properly in terms of where our buildings and settlements should be and where farm settlements should be, you know, looking and projecting properly into the future, will be a better society in terms of managing and preserving our cultural potentials. Yes, we have arable lands, we have the manpower, even the projection the lecturers brought forward. In terms of about 70% of manpower force that we're going to have in 2030, that is quite, you know, that is heartwarming. It is massive. And the Japan syndrome it talks about, you know, as much as we try to ridicule ourselves and speak ill of our country, it may interest you that when our doctors leave the shore of Nigeria, I can speak more of Nigeria. They have little or no, you know, formal program or internship before they are giving the medical tools to the doctors in those countries, and they turn out to be the best. It just shows that what is lacking is just, you know, proper human capital utilization.
The high point of the day was a presentation of Integrity Award of Honor to deserving individuals. The awardees, in turn, shed more light on the event of the day, as they appreciate the organizers for counting them worthy of the honor.
To the greater generations in the mighty name of Jesus.
Joy in my heart to receive this award. So this is the first time for me to be in Ghana. I went all over the countries, but this is the first time to touch the land of Ghana.
Yeah.
And because of this integrity, without it, I don't know what will bring me to Ghana.
I saw integrity, transparency, and accountability. It struck my mind that yes, this should be one of those awards I should really accept. Very interesting because the subject matter we are discussing today, talking about population growth, while we are where we are today, is really, really chronicle and entrenched in those three words: integrity, transparency, and accountability. Leadership in Africa has failed. They have failed totally because They have the ingredients of stay put. You can imagine some African country, they are old, they are being supported, yet they are still there. Doing what? You see, corruption have eaten into the span of human endeavor. And so that has blindfolded all the beautiful things that God have given us to highness.
I present to you this evening Barrister Demola Olabiyijo,
African Leaders of Integrity Award. So you, Barrister Demola Olabiyijo, congratulations.
If population would have been a cause, I don't think I should be standing. So therefore, part of what makes us an African is what my brother was, I don't want to say struggling to explain, but struggling to tell us that it is an African for you to have as many as possible. I hope I'm correct. The question therefore is, how do we utilize what we have to overtake other countries to show that we are not only big in population, we are also big in other good things of the world. I hope I'm correct. So Africans, please, we need to think out of the box and see how we can harmonize what God has given us as population and use it to build capacity to get to the top.
I think this award is dedicated to God Almighty, the Most High and the Most High in integrity above all human beings. What we are talking here today is about integrity, and that is what we need to preach to people that are coming to our leaders. I thank the organizer for being a champion of this. And what we need in Africa, in actual sense, the whole world, because when you talk of integrity, even right there in Western worlds, there are still some that lack integrity. Africa may be in the front lead, but it's not peculiar to Africa alone.
This award to God Almighty first, and all the people that had the courage to be integrous, to be transparent, and also be accountable in every situation and in every calling that they had the privilege to be called upon. Apart from the main presentation that had been done, I have listened to all the various interventions based on their different perspectives. We cannot run away from the fact that we have a problem in Africa. We cannot run away from the fact that we have a problem in Nigeria, and that is population explosion. What is population explosion? It's not about having 20 children, 50 children. Do you have the time to spend with them, to teach them, to inculcate in them those values that will make them successful in life? Or do you just produce these children to be farmer, to help you in your farm to make money? It's about of value that we inculcate in your children.
Congrats. As a lecturer of the Maritime Institution, I like to give out intellectual substance. And that is why my focus is on the youth. My focus is on the youth because you will agree with me that a lot of us that are here today are closer to where we're going than where we're coming from. And then, when you don't have a successor, are you really successful? You will only tell me you are successful if you look back and your successors are doing fine. I think everyone will want to go to grave with that. Nobody wants to die, but the truth is that we're going to die. And when the time comes, when that thing comes knocking, you look around you and you ask yourself, what have you achieved? And if indeed you have done so well, you're not going to be afraid of death.